Anybody want to say anything before we get started today? Okay, we got one in the back here. I'm going to pass the microphone back. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. For me, two things: that leadership is a process, it's not an event. So I need to work every day towards becoming a leader. It will not just happen. But secondly, the thing that stood out, I think in one of the stop and assess on influence, two questions stood out for me. If the people that work for you, you are not giving them salary and you do not have your title, will they still follow you? That was really like a stop moment for me. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Good. Annette, right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else?
For me, it was more on the stop and access, where when you learn to connect with others, being relational, and there's a question where they ask, was your time together more hand to hand or head to head? And yeah, for me, like, whenever you're leading, you have to connect with your audience or the group you're with, and it has to be a heart to heart level.
Yes.
That's where impact is felt.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Thank you, John. Anybody else? Louise in the back. That was a good prayer this morning, Louise. I felt that.
For me, because I know I'm not a very good listener, so when I did the test, it put me in my place. And there's a piece of page 39 where it says, stop stealing ego food. And it says, listening is the way to gain wisdom, because everything you say, you already know. It really costs me.
Yeah.
That's why I need to listen more and talk less.
Okay. Yeah. Amen. Amen. Anybody else?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So, yesterday you said you can't lead people. Then you can't lead people if you need people. That's the harmony. And another thing that got me thinking is, how do people feel when they come to me? Like, am I that kind of person who someone will approach and feel better? Or they'll approach and they'll feel worse and they leave? So that got me thinking quite a bit.
Good. That's good. We're either asleep this morning, or did everybody sleep good last night?
While I have the mic, I had a question yesterday.
Oh, okay.
The time was well spent. When it comes to understanding people in the you influencer, understanding people, so is that from a point of empathy or understanding their point of view?
Well, it could be both, I think. You know the difference between empathy and sympathy?
Yes.
Sympathy is you just sorry. Yes. Empathy is I've been there. And I understand exactly what you're going through. So it could be both. Anybody have any thoughts on that? It's just my 2 cents. Anybody?
It's feeling sympathy with empathy.
No, it's her question. Ask your question again,
My
Greg.
question is, in the influencer, the U stands for understanding people, right? So does that mean as the leader, you're supposed to understand them from their point of view, or are you supposed to actually feel what they have gone through? And what's the demarcation? Like, at what point should you feel, and at what point should you keep your feelings to yourself?
And of course, part of the understanding that we went through yesterday too is staff. So that's why we want to understand what their personality types are, their leadership styles, et cetera. So part of the understanding is, of course, that as well. So it is listening to them and trying to understand where they're coming from, but all part of that too is understanding who they are, who God made them to be, created them to be. We got.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. I just wanted to add something on a question. So, yeah. Well, I think in this lesson there's a fact that we have been taught, or rather you've taught us, to listen and read the people we are leading. You know, when you read the people you are leading, you are able to know how they operate. Because, and you also need to understand yourself, because this person you are leading, if you are not able to read their motives when they are coming to you, sometimes they have learned you and they can use their emotions to get into you as well. I think that is also something that is very important to understand, because there are people who can manipulate you based on your personality. So you should be able to know at what point do I feel like sympathy or empathy, and at what point do I stand my ground like, okay, now this one I can't do this, or I can't do this. And I think we may be able to understand more in future when we are studying on personalities, right?
Yes. Anybody else?
No.
Oh,
Yes.
I wish you got that microphone away from him.
I just wanted to add something. Well, not on any other. You asked if there's anything that we learned. There's this part of giving credit to the people you need publicly, just to encourage them. I think that part stood out to me, because it makes someone feel like, yes, I'm appreciated, I'm loved, and yeah, basically, it's something that really stood out for me.
Yeah, it's good. It does make a difference, doesn't it? To recognize doing something. But you gotta be humble when you receive that, right? But it does make you feel good to be appreciated. I think we all want to be. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Irene.
The thing that struck me, okay, I didn't do the SWOT analysis for years. I was reading study, I didn't do it before.
Okay.
But this is just in the class.
That still counts.
Yeah. So this was in the class, in terms of the question you need to ask to connect people. You know, like what do you laugh about, what do you cry about? And I was really thinking about like the people who are creating this class or about to. Those are some of the things that it would be nice to connect with someone and know sort of things. But I also wondering, like the first time you meet somebody, or even the second, I think it would be a very deep discussion to ask like what you cry. Like I feel like it's very, and you must know a little bit for me to tell you what makes me cry.
Yeah.
Maybe what makes me laugh, you even maybe know.
Right.
But then what do I cry? What do I give about? I think you need to have gotten to know me a little bit more for you to be able to ask me this question.
Trust.
Yeah, you have to have learned something, but yeah, they're good questions that I'll be asking my classmates here.
Good. Well, and that's why when we, remember when we were here to get to know, and I was asking you guys, what's your name, why are you here, what do you want, when to use it? That was part of, I heard some of your dreams. And like me, I didn't really know what I was going to do until I was almost 40. I didn't know what my purpose purpose was. And you know what? I've met people who are in their late 70s, early 80s, and they still don't know their purpose. And, but they didn't know they're supposed to seek it necessarily either, you know? But, so when we're trying to connect, those are questions that you can ask them if you have that trust, and I think that relationship with them. But if not, a lot of times I see those or hear those just in talking with people. They're talking and we're getting to know each other. It's not generally the first time you meet them, you know? You gotta build that relationship. But when you're talking and they start crying about something that they're talking about, well, you know, that's your clue. But a lot of times we're not really looking to understand, so that's why we focus on that. And you seek to understand, not be understood. You know? So that will help us connect. Good. Thank you, Robin. Anybody else? Here we go, Ms. Jones.
I'm going to attempt to answer Grace. As a leader, to be able to give instruction and it's taken, because sometimes you get to a point where when you choose to understand, then things don't get done. Because you're understanding why did you not do this happened. So it becomes a story. And now at the end of the day, there are no results. So I think it's important to learn how to put in healthy boundaries where, you know, if you haven't done this, maybe a couple, if you're unable to deliver 3 times, then we know this and this and this. Yeah. So even though this and this has happened, we need to understand at the end of the day we are working towards a goal, and for us to work towards it, we need to put things in place. Yeah.
Is that your question?
She was just commenting on it.
Praise God.
Amen.
So what stands out for me is love finds a way, and indifference finds excuses. And when you said excuse is a well-planned lie,
Yeah.
I really connected because I know some people. Yeah.
They always have an excuse, don't they? And I just always think, okay, well, they planned that lie. But love them anyway, right? Love them anyway. Mr. Ola, did you take any action yesterday on your situation? You're working on it? All right, good deal. Over here we've got Ryan, our chef.
So we are just adding something.
Okay.
On page 22, the profile of a leader. I found a key that you can use to gauge yourself. I felt like I'm so bad after you add everything. If you get your points, you don't know what you're going to do with your points. So I found a key that's going to help. So when evaluating your leadership potential, pay attention to the qualities and characteristics that the specific form. So 90 to 100 means you're a great leader. Hold on, so 90 to 100, you're a good leader. So you should be mentoring other people, good and great leaders. If you got 90 to 100. If you got 80 to 89, you're a good leader. The first one is a great leader, the second one is a good leader. So you must keep growing and keep mentoring others. So if you got 70 to 79, you're an emerging leader. 70 to 79, you're an emerging leader. Focus on growth and begin mentoring others.
Oh, you've not.
60 to 69, you're busting with potential. You're an excellent person to be developed. Pass mark is 60. Below 60, needs growth. In the right class, yeah. You're not be ready to be mentored as a leader. You're not be ready to be mentored as a leader. Let me repeat again.
Page 22.
Page 22.
The keys, no keys.
Self-examination. All of these things so far.
Profile of the leader.
Yes.
So I'm repeating for the last time. 90 to 100. 90 to 100, you're a great leader. Should be mentoring other good and great leaders. 80 to 89, you're a good leader. Must keep growing and keep mentoring others. 70 to 79, you're an emerging leader. Focus on growth and begin mentoring others. 60 to 69, master your potential. Excellent person to be developed. Below 60, you need growth. You may not be ready to be mentored.
60 you did?
She's asking where I got it. It's not my own, it's from Tom Hansen. Lasting with potential. Yeah, we can show them.
So, thank you, Brian. So remember, when we first started, we said that it's okay not to be a great leader. So if you didn't score 90 to 100, that's okay. But it's not okay to not grow. Grow your leadership. And that's what today is all about, is how to grow yourself into a better leader so you are 90 to 100, okay? But I gotta tell you, when I first heard this, I was pretty low on the scale. And I'm still growing. I'm not there yet, okay? I'm still growing. So today we're going to focus on that. Thank you so much for your interaction and your comments. They're all really, really good. And I can tell you're getting it. So that makes me happy. So growing as a leader, this is one of my favorite parts. Now I love learning what a leader looks like and what a leader does, because that helped me realize that I wasn't much of a leader, but I could become a better leader. And I really like the influencer part that we learned yesterday, because remember, my biggest weakness was my relationship skills. And so that really helped me learn how to relate to people better and become a better influencer, which means leadership is nothing more, nothing less. That's right. But this is one of my favorite parts, how to grow as a leader. Okay, how to grow as a leader. Does anybody like to, I love to learn and to grow, and I love to, if I don't know something, to go do a search on Google or whatever and find out more about it. I love to watch documentaries and things like that. I really like the crime shows, where they learn all about investigate. Yeah. I love those kind of things. I love to learn. And if you love to learn, you're going to love this part, because it's going to teach you how to grow as a leader. So with that, let's get started. You ready? Yeah. Get on the right page, that might help. What page are you guys on? 58? 56? 57? Yeah. I have a 59. Okay. distinguishes leaders from followers. Distinguishes leaders from followers. And there in the book it says, growth is happiness. The best leaders are the ones who are passionate about personal growth. Personal growth. So, there are 3 words that determine our growth. 3 words that determine our growth. Can you guys see it okay? Keep getting in your way. Okay, so the first word that determines our growth is choice. Choice. And choice allows me to start growth. Okay? So we make the choice to start growing. Okay, when we make that choice. The second word is change. When we determine to change, this allows us to keep growing. Okay? And then the third word is climate. Climate.